Hey guys, welcome to a Wizarding 101 video. This is a video that's aimed at brand new players. We're going to get you spun up, started, and throwing spells at each other and having fun. Before we do that, we have to look at the menus, figure out how to navigate around the game, get our settings all straightened out so that we can have as much fun as possible. So here we are in the game. We're here. We're going to go from left to right with the buttons, and we're going to talk about what everything does and how you go about getting everything to work properly. So let's start with the Gear tab. We go in the Gear tab. This shows your equipped equipment, what you have on right now, and if you want to change something, you click on the slot and it pulls up every piece of equipment that you have unlocked. So to change it, you just click on what you want and it changes it. Very simple. If you want to close this menu, you just click on the same slot you clicked on to get into. Now, there's one little funny thing here with robes. Some robes have different color variants, and you have two ways of switching between owned color variants. One, you can click on the robe and it brings up this little sub menu. You can change it, or you can just single click, and every time you single click it changes the color variant. Pretty snazzy. Here's your staves, here's your rings, and here's your trinkets. Pretty cool. The second button is the Magics button. You click this and it will pull up every available magic to you. So here's how this works, guys, with the crystals. Every time you level up, you will gain a crystal. And right now, as of the making of this video, they go in order. First you get a water crystal, then you get a life crystal, then you get a shield crystal. So it's not random in any way, shape, or form. So if you're really saving up for like a top tier Raised Dead, for example, this is going to take you about 30 levels to accrue all these crystals that you need. So if you're going for a higher tier Magicka, make sure that you don't spend any of these type of crystals beforehand, or you're going to be waiting a long time to unlock. So how do you change what Magicka you have equipped? So say I want to purchase Tornado. I would click on Tornado and I get a description of Tornado and the number of gems are required. I click Unlock, and then you click Unlock with elemental crystals, and in your case, if you have the correct amount of crystals, it'll say, you know, yay, you've unlocked it. And then you'll be able to double click on the spell and it will put it into your active spells. The ones on top up here, this is the active spell. When you go into the game, these would be the spells that you have available to you. We're going to skip over these middle two buttons here and go straight to the store. So when you first pull up the store, you see your bundles. And then if you go to the second tab, you have your items. You have all the robes that you can get with either crowns or real money. You have your weapons. Notice these have a level requirement. A lot of items have a level requirement. So you're going to have to grind it out to get some of these cooler stuff. Here's your staves. Here's your trinkets. And once again, here are your rings. So go nuts. Alright, so the redeem button is for if you have a Magicka Wizard Wars key or a Steam key for Wizard Wars. This is where you would come, you click redeem, it asks you okay, and then it'll navigate you to the Paradox website. You have to put in all your login information and whatnot. So that's not what you're intending to do. Don't click the redeem button. That goes for the support button as well. Don't actually press this when you have a legitimate bug to report, because it'll kind of navigate you away from what you're trying to do, and that's no fun. So let's talk about the game setup and the play button. Obviously, if you click play, it will begin searching you for an appropriate game for your skill level. And so you can change the way or the type of game that you're searching for by hitting game setup, and it'll bring up this menu right here. And you can choose between Warfare, which is a 4v4, Duel, which is a 1v1, or Training Ground, which is where you're all by yourself with Timmy the training dummy, and you can screw around to get comfortable. And this is where I would recommend kind of at least figuring out kind of what you're going to do when you really start playing. So you'll notice right here under the play it says training, and that's because training is checkmarked. If I switch to duel, then it changes to duel and warfare, etc. This is how you keep track of what kind of game mode you're searching for without having to go into this menu. So over here we have your title, your name of your wizard, and your experience bar. Below that, you have your crowns, and then the region that you're currently logged into. If you're not quite sure how to change your region, it's actually on the login screen where you put in your account name and your password. Right below that is a little hyperlink that says region, the current region you're in, and then change in brackets, and you click that, and that will allow you to left or right button through all the available regions. So let's talk about the settings, guys. This is probably the most important part. You have all your normal stuff here. Pretty standard stuff, except for post-effects quality. When you're dead, there's this vignette that goes over the game, so you can kind of tell you're dead with this sepia tone. So if you don't like that and you want it off, then you turn post-effects quality to low, and that will get rid of that. I don't mind it, so I leave it on. In the audio tab, the sound effects for this game are really loud. So it might behoove you to turn all the sounds down, because if you turn your system volume down and then later on you need to turn back up because you're watching a video on YouTube or something like that, and then you forget about it and you come into Wizard Wars, it might just break your eardrums. Just saying. Here's your key bindings. And the most important setting for a new player in here, in pretty much all these menus actually, is self-cast on self-click. Basically, this allows you to make mistakes and cast spells on yourself when you didn't intend to. Obviously, this is a high-paced game. Lots of stuff's going on the screen, and this will. This is basically like a "Hey, do you want to shoot yourself in the foot?" option. So I would turn this off, definitely, and I would check it periodically. Sometimes when Paradox patches the game, they turn this back on you because they're sneaky and they like to screw with you like that. There's the default settings button. There's an apply and discard button and a close button. And then over on this last tab, there's the quit game button. If you don't feel like Alt F4ing out and you want to close the game legitimately, this is how you would do it. Last thing we're going to talk about is kind of confusing. It's the friend button. But first, there's this like little icon right next to the friends button, and right now you can see it's kind of grayed out. It's the same color as the background. If you're in a party with your friends, this actually lights up gold, and you'll be able to tell that you're in a party. So here's my friends list. So the names in green are players that are currently connected to Wizard Wars, and it tells you whether they're in the menus or in the match, and then what server they're on. If they're on a different server than you, as of the making of this video, they will not get your invites unless they're on the same region as you. It didn't used to be that way, and it's probably going to get fixed at some point, but just be aware that if you're trying to invite somebody from a different server and they just are ignoring you, they're not actually ignoring you, they're just not getting your request. Down here you have the online players who are just on Steam, but they're not in Wizard Wars, and then all the way, obviously, you have your offline players. So how does this work? I want to play with my friends. In this case, we're going to play with IXL. So I'm going to invite him. I click on this little arrow and I click Invite to Party, and it'll turn on this muted orange. He accepts my invite, and bam, shows myself where I am, and this crown indicates that I'm the party leader. And then we have IXL right here, and it says Initiate. He's not actually an initiate. He's actually a much higher rank than that. But this system is not working as of the making of this video. But I'm sure at some point they'll get it spun up. And notice that little tab that I said down here. It's now lit up orange. And that means that we are in a party. So since I am the party leader, I have access to the play button. Now, if you were looking at IXL's screen right now, his play button would be grayed out and he wouldn't be able to do it. So if you're wondering why your play button is grayed out, it's probably because of two reasons. One, you've lost your connection to Steam, and you'll get your arrows over here, and you'll probably have to restart the game. Two, you are in a party, you're not the party leader, and you're waiting for your party leader to actually hit the play button for you. If you are the party leader and the button is grayed out, that probably means 90% of the time that someone in your party is still looking at the score screen from the previous game. So you need to bother them in real life to get them to leave that screen, and then you'll be able to hit the play button again. So some people get confused by this. How do I get out of a party? There's no like leave party button anywhere apparent. So if I click on the little down arrow, I have leave party here, and if I'm the party leader, I also, on other people's names, I have a kick from party option. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this party. And then IXL is going to invite me, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. Party invite. IXL has invited you to their party. Accept and decline. So if I hit accept, you'll notice that IXL is now the party leader, and my play button is grayed out. See how that works? Fascinating, I know, right? So one little thing to note, if you've just friendsed somebody, and they've just accepted your friend request, and it says something like their name in-game, but it's muted, it's this muted color, and it says region unknown, Basically what that means is that the game can't figure out that you should be friends now, and if you're having trouble inviting each other, just restart the game and it should clear up all those errors. So that's been it for me, guys, for today. This has been Wizarding 101 tutorial. This is just the settings video. There are going to be a lot more tutorials to come. I hope you guys come back and check those out. We'll get you spun up, and we'll get you a better Wizard Wars player without that wizarding panic that everybody seems to be experiencing. So thank you guys so much for coming and joining me. Once again, this has been Schrecken. I hope to be your Wizarding Wars tutorial and teacher. If you like these videos, please like them. If you like the channel, please subscribe. If you don't, then go ahead and reflect that as well and leave me some constructive feedback on what I can do to improve it. If you want to come hang out with me, my Twitch stream will be in the video description below, as well as a link to the rest of the tutorials in this series. Thank you guys once again very much, and come on back.